When they reached Rothman's floor, the two then turned right and continued down the richly panelled corridor. The many pairs of tall bronze male figures on either side of the hallway, holding their torches, looked more like sentinels than fancy lighting fixtures. When they reached the anteroom to Stan's office, Seth left Russell there alone without saying a word. A minute later, a tanned, muscular gentleman in his 50s came out of his office and greeted him with a smile and a strong, controlling handshake. Right away, Russell thought, the rich man's syndrome. Then Russell remembered seeing a picture of this greying-haired kingpin some years ago in a magazine, but he couldn't remember which one.
You can understand why I asked you to come here, rather than my going to you.
Yes, I understand, but what I don't understand completely is why you called me. I mean, rather than one of the more prominent psychiatrists in this area.
Because, Dr. Silverman, I wanted to meet with someone like yourself who was experienced in hypnosis and had a small local office with few people tempted to leak the story. I'm a private person, in spite of my notoriety. Something like this could not only be embarrassing but even destabilizing to my businesses. This is why I've asked you here. I'm hoping that one session will be sufficient.
Mr. Rothman, that will depend entirely on you, because there are some people who cannot be hypnotized easily. However, we are jumping ahead of ourselves here. Tell me about this recurring dream and why you need hypnosis to understand it.
Well, actually, I understand the dream itself. The dream is simply a replay of a specific event in my past, something that actually happened to me. I'm just missing a few important details of that incident, and that's where you come in. What I need to remember more clearly is what was said during the event. You see, there was a carrying case, like a CD case, that contained a specific computer program. I need to remember what the technician said when he inserted that program, what the program's exact initials were.
So, this is something that actually happened to you, and that you're trying to remember more accurately.
That's right, and now, can we get on with the hypnosis? I'm very eager to find the answer I've been wondering about for quite some time.
Mr. Rothman, I would prefer it if you called me Russell, and if you don't mind, I'd like to call you Stan. Agreed?
I cannot have that. Things like that end up in the media, more often than not. Once again, Stan shakes his head in the affirmative, while Russell places his recorder on Stan's desk and asks if he would mind being taped.
Look, Stan, my memory's not the best. So, when I conduct these sessions, I may miss something you've said, or I may simply forget something crucial. Recording these sessions can be critical to achieving success, especially in situations like yours, where the answer might be found in the replay of your words, rather than my acuity in picking up on what you've said. Look, everything said here today stays with me in my vault at the office, until the day I leave this earth and later. So if you agree, let's continue. Stan, it might be a good idea if you sat in this chair facing me during our session. Stan, does this memory stem from your childhood, or is it something that happened to you later in life?
It happened just moments before I came to this planet.
Stan's reply gave Russell a momentary jolt, but he knew one thing: the man sitting next to him was not crazy. This was not the time to become Stan's psychoanalyst, and so Russell decides to let it pass, as though Stan's comment was a totally normal remark. At the same time, Stan watches the doctor's reaction carefully. It was exactly what he hoped for. Stan now recognizes that both of them in this room on this ordinary Thursday afternoon want answers from this session, but for very different reasons. Right now, an analysis of Stan's current mental state is not one of them. Russell's professional intuition tells him Stan was not delusional, but what was he? Russell was going to attempt to find out for himself.
Set the stage for me, Stan. Where were you before you came here to this planet? What was happening around you in that place you want me to take you back to? Who are the others with you there? Tell me everything as best as you can remember.
Well, I was in the lab where the computer programs are stored for creating new heavens. Heavens, by the way, are holographically enhanced virtual environments like the one in use here on Earth. Anyway, there's a choice of operating systems when creating heavens that allow for either randomized or deterministic algorithms. After the war in Paradise, I was able to get a hold of a bootlegged copy of a trainer program that was perfectly compatible with the one already in use here for this planet's simulation. Technicians sympathetic to our cause were then able to perform the backdoor interface overrides to Earth's algorithms, shortly after Earth's heaven had begun.
Silverman didn't really understand what Stan was telling him, and so he intended to replay the tape later. Right now, he just needed to hear more.
So Stan, let's get to the most important part that you need clarified.
Well, first off, the technicians in the lab are heating the plasma for the warp drive and getting ready to implant the eye-sized quasi-crystal. You see, that's why I have one glass eye. They had to use my actual eye socket to transport the crystal. Anyway, the noise during boot up is so loud I can't hear what they're saying, at least not everything. So, that's what I have to find out. That's why I'm here. I must know which program they used. I need to find out whether it was the ST, also called the Standard Trainer, or whether it was the SD, also called the Simulacrum or Super Deterministic Program. If they misled me and substituted the SD code, then that would explain some of the things that have been happening recently. Stan says, while unconsciously clenching the arms of his chair as he stares directly at the lava lamp at the other end of his office. Then Stan tells the doctor, "You know, I had always trusted the randomness of the lamp's motion, but now I wonder if it's merely a clever trap to fool me. Maybe what I'm looking at isn't random at all. Maybe I'm just watching an old movie that others have seen many times before." It means I'm beginning to wonder whether I've been fooled. It makes me wonder whether I have any control at all over this world. In other words, is this a bait-and-switch scam?
May I ask what you mean by that?
Yes, it means I'm beginning to question the underlying gears of this reality. If I control this world, why are things so out of sync? Is something else or someone else running things? Did they switch programs on me? I can lock it from my desk with voice activation. Stan, look, I'm not gonna lie and tell you I understand all of what you're telling me. I'm also not gonna lie and tell you that I think you're completely sane. Frankly, I'm going to reserve judgment and see where all this goes. So for the moment, I just want you to sit back in that chair and relax while I get my laptop set up. Also, let your secretary know that we are not to be disturbed. Absolutely no phone calls, and if you don't mind, I'd like to lock your door.
With both men now seated and with a single keystroke, a 432 Hz vibrational tone coming from the laptop begins to fill the room. The sound seems to cause a tingling in the spine and gives one a sense of total relaxation. Next, Russell places a small liquid-filled snow globe on the top of the end table, directly in front of Stan's view. It was a battery-operated type of snow globe, with reflective particles that changed colors and were kept in motion by tiny spinning blades.
Stan, keep your eyes on this globe, and you will notice that each time the color changes, you will feel more and more relaxed. Listen to the hum, and keep your eyes on the silvery snow. First yellow, then pink, then green, then blue, and each time it changes, you are feeling more and more relaxed. Watch the colors: yellow, then pink, then green, and then blue. And now you are having trouble keeping your eyes on the swirling colors. First yellow, then pink, then green, and then blue. And when the silver snow stops swirling and falls to the bottom, you will fall into a deep, deep sleep, and you will go back in time to before you arrived on this planet. You will be back in the lab with the technicians who...
Russell could see that Stan's breathing had changed, and he appeared to be hypnotized already. Russell lowers the volume of the hertz sound, and at that moment he sees Stan sniffing the air, as though he can smell something.
Stan, where are you?
At the lab, I can smell the plasma cooking. It's a bootlegged copy, the technician is telling me, and it was hard to get after the war. He says you owe me for this one.
Then Russell sees Stan cupping his hand and putting something in his mouth. Afterwards, Stan seems unable to talk and starts mumbling.
Stan, what's wrong? Do you have something in your mouth?
Stan shakes his head yes.
Stan, listen to me. There is nothing in your mouth. Do you understand? There is nothing in your mouth. You will be able to speak without any problem now. Just go ahead and speak.
I'm in the transport pod ready to go. What's happening right now in the lab? Just look around the room. You are in no danger. You are here with me, and you are watching the lab from a safe distance away. I can see Jetrel and Azza talking back and forth, but now I can hear a loud hum, so I can't hear what they are saying. Okay, now the technician is grabbing a disk from the program library case and hands it to Azza, but Azza shakes his head and says no. Jetrel then walks over and takes a disk from the black and yellow case with the yellow flower design on the front of it.
Russell can see that Stan is straining his eyes to see something, and so Russell tells him, "Look closely at them, Stan. When you blink, your eyes will get clearer. Now slow it down, go backwards and watch it again. You have the ability to do that, just like rewinding a movie."
The technician is saying, I thought we were using the S, T, or D. I can't hear them, it's just too noisy.
Can you tell what kind of flower is on the black case?
It looks like popcorn, a yellow popcorn, but I don't know what it is.
With that, Stan slouches in his chair, quite defeated.
Russell decides to end the session and focuses Stan's attention onto the snow globe. Stan, I want you to watch the colors again. You will see the colors change from yellow, pink, green, then blue. Each color change will make you a little more awake. Watch the colors as they change, and each time it changes, you will feel more alert. The next time it turns blue, you will be wide awake, you will open your eyes, and you will remember everything. Okay, Stan, it's now turning blue, and you're awake with me in your office. Russell says as he shuts down his equipment. Stan, how do you feel? Do you remember anything?
Yes, everything. I just don't have the answer.
No, you don't. But at least now, you've got something to go by. What we have to find out next is, what the hell kind of flower looks like popcorn, right? That might give us a clue. I'm going to ask my sister what kind of flower she thinks this might be. She knows them all, and I'll get back to you by our next appointment.
Dr. Silverman tells him, without grasping that there would be no other appointments with this man, or anyone else for that matter. All Russell knew as he walked back to his office on that busy street was that this session had turned out to be as real and as unreal as anything he had ever experienced. Russell wanted desperately to believe that Stan was delusional, but he couldn't. Not this man.
So what am I supposed to think, that this world, this reality, isn't real? I can't be alone right now, he decides. I can't tell anyone about this, but I cannot be alone either.
He sees the sign, 2 doors down, and goes inside Rudy's sports bar. The place has a 30-foot bar and a row of flat screens from one end to the other. He sits at the counter and orders a beer and a burger with fries while trying to fit in with the crowd, even though he's now wearing his tan linen jacket and silk blend tie.
Looking around the darkened room, he wonders whether anyone here is in on Stan's secret. Probably not, he decides. I imagine you have to be one of the elites to know the real truth, and they certainly didn't come here to this kind of place for their cocktails. If it was anyone else besides Stan Rothman, I wouldn't give his story even a bit of credence, but it is. This was the man, and these were his words, and now I don't know what in the world to make of it. What makes this situation even worse is that I can't talk to anyone about it, not even this stranger sitting next to me right now. Is our world all a damned computer-generated movie, and it only took me 65 years to find that out? Normally, I would write this whole thing off as the rantings of a crazy person, Russell admits, pretty much guzzling down his first beer. However, this particular crazy person is practically running the world, so what the hell am I to think? No, one beer would not be enough this summer afternoon, so he did something he hadn't done since his college days. I'd like another beer and a shot of whiskey with it, thank you.
When the drinks arrive, he sips the beer down by an inch and then drops the shot glass into the mug. For the next hour, Russell did his best to forget everything, and by God, he almost